Michael Caine is currently 90 years old. I've never experienced a better class for acting in film. I saw this a few moments ago. I've heard about it. I heard about the whole looking at the eye and all this stuff, and I never really took it any, I didn't pay it any attention. This is a must-see if you're going to go into film acting. It's Michael Caine. This was posted 9 years ago on Film Kunst, but it's Michael Caine Teaches Acting in Film. It's about 58 minutes, and it's mesmerizing. It's actually brilliant. Check it out immediately. He's got some great notes. I'm reading about Michael Caine right now. Still alive. He's 90 years old right now. It's brilliant. And by the way, Michael Caine's real name is Maurice Joseph Micklebite. Michael Caine's a stage name. Didn't know that either. Amazing. All right. September 17th, 2023, as the recording of this for the Please Subscribe show. I'm Cole Spivey. That's Linda getting ready for work. And we're about to head off to the yonder. I'll eventually end up at the airport. All right. Linda's getting ready. Putting on her shoes. And I'm getting kitty food. So we're going to go with this one right here. Purina cat food. Don't ask me why I vlog everything. This is, art disorder. What was it? I'm sorry. What were you saying? Kentucky Ranger says what? But you're supposed to give them dry food.
No, but you change the food. The other one was salmon, this one's chicken.
You're saying don't change the dry food?
No, that's cat.
Trying to use Michael Caine acting. So no facial expressions, just eyes. So you're saying no dry food? It is more powerful, I'll tell you why. Because a person that's relaxed is powerful. Especially in front of the camera. They don't need to make facial expressions. Like I just did right there. They don't need to make facial expressions. See what I'm saying? Right. But they can't get frozen either, so they do make facial expressions. I don't understand it completely, but I'm understanding some of it. It's Michael Caine's film acting. I'm watching it right now. All right, Linda, do Michael Caine's film acting. It's with the eyes. She's very, look at those eyes. They're very green, very powerful. All right, we're gonna get on the road. Just with Michael Caine's film acting, be careful with like facial contortions. You don't want to do that very much. You keep it just kind of relaxed, just kind of thing. All right, we'll talk about it later. We're talking about Linda's struggle in a minute. All right, silver alert. We got a loose hippie coming out of Brownsfield. Probably made Woodstock, maybe. Just keep an eye out. He's got silver hair, driving some type of vehicle. So what are we having today, Linda?
White stuff, ranch.
I put ranch on it. I couldn't find any tomato sauce. I hope that's okay. Yeah, I've seen you put ranch on stuff.
Not pasta, but
Don't worry, sweetie. I'll go back and get your apron and bring it right back to you, okay? I'll run across the lake again, and then we'll get your apron, okay?
of course.
Okay. puzzled, I'm basically a crazy person that had to become sane to help other crazy people. It's a long story. The used ones go on the top, and the new ones are on the bottom. Sometimes you just can't be crazy anymore. You have to become sane so you can help others. It's a very long story. Oh, a penny. No, actually, it's a dime. All right, looks like they found an apron, so I can head back. Reviewing Michael Caine's film on acting, or I'm sorry, acting on film. But it is a film. I don't know if it's television. But I think there's a lot. Okay, I got a phone call coming in. I'll talk. So I did want to do some type of movie review. I was going to do Hearts of Darkness, which I thought would be great because I love watching it because it shows Francis Ford Coppola in a very desperate state because he was 100% sure that Apocalypse Now was like the worst disaster ever made. It turned out to be one of the best war films, but I'm gonna put that on hold because that one I'm gonna wait until I get better. I'm under a bridge right now. I'm gonna get better at it, and then I'm gonna try to do that one later. I don't want to take on like masterpieces. I consider Hearts of Darkness a masterpiece, almost on the same level as Apocalypse Now. A lot of people do. It's a great documentary. Shows Dennis Hopper, Marlon Brando, Francis Ford Coppola at his best. It's just an amazing documentary. And not Sophia Coppola, I don't know for sure she's in it. It's his wife, Mrs. Coppola, did the film. She also did another feature later on with Alec Baldwin that my second wife and I got to see. It was really great. Set in the countryside of France or something like that. All right, let me skip that. So we're going to do the review of Michael Caine and film acting. So, theater actors really need it the most. I look at my early stuff and I'm just like, what in the world was I doing? Everybody does that. Swank City, by far, is something that we were just having a lot of fun doing. That was something that's now on YouTube, and I think I was 22 when I did that. I've only been seriously acting since I was maybe 18. So 19, 20, 22, I was 4 years in. But it was a lot of fun. And I was around like 4 beautiful women. I think 5 beautiful women on stage. They're all still beautiful today. I've seen a lot of them on Facebook, if not more beautiful than what they were. I'm gonna go this way over here. You couldn't see that, so don't worry about it. But anyway, I had to go. Another phone call. Sorry, I'm helping the less fortunate. I don't mean to get into that, but I'm going to go ahead and off the top of my head, hang on, let me wipe my glasses down. Michael Caine, he's 90 years old, he's brilliant. He knows everything about film acting. A lot of actors don't share this stuff. I don't even know if Marlon Brando really did. Marlon Brando was probably one of our best film actors, and probably because of his reactions to things, how he reacted, with all this like stuff in The Godfather and all that stuff, what it is Michael Caine was kind of breaking it down, and I don't know, so he gave out so much information. Now, the eye thing I think is cool. So what he said in film acting is that some actors will shift back and forth with their eyes, looking like back and forth, looking to both eyes like we do naturally in life. He wanted to admit that so that you're only looking at one eye, and you're looking usually at the side of, let's say if the camera is over, I'm trying to think exactly how he directed it. I'll have to go back and watch it, but if I'm not mistaken, I think if the camera is over here, I'll have to go back and think about it, what he was saying. But anyway, he was saying focus on one eye of the actor, of your partner. He was very big about acting with a partner in a scene, even in auditions. And you look at one eye because it's more powerful than if you're like blinking and moving your eyes back and forth, which people don't really do that to extent, but they will look back and forth into both eyes, and not to do that. I remember seeing something about it years ago, and I thought it was fascinating. And then he talked about blinking, but don't tell this to Hugh Grant. I've seen Hugh Grant in an interview, and he does like to blink, and that's part of his thing. So there's always an exception to every rule. Hugh Grant is an exception to the blinking. But anyway, Michael Caine doesn't like to blink. He doesn't blink, and he looks in one eye. But that's not all of it, though. That's just a little thing that he does to create strength. He's also about relaxing the face, being relaxed. Got another message to come in. And not to put on any type of like mask, like a facial expression to gesture with the face, because it becomes too much for the audience to handle. Now with Jim Carrey, those things are a little bit different. Like there's an exception with every rule, but he still has expression on his face. It's just when you're doing it and you're not talking to your friend, if you're talking to your friend rather than the audience, you'll make that gesture. And he says, well, don't speak to the audience, speak to your friend. So if you're talking to a friend. So I thought that was cool. And then you have the thing memorized. So like with Shakespeare, it's like like how occasions do inform against me and spur my dull revenge. How occasions do inform against me and spur my dull revenge. What is a man of his chief good and market of his time be but to sleep and feed? I started kind of doing a little bit of it. There's the lake right there. I started doing some of it, and I thought, this is interesting. Talking to a friend. I got another message. But that was really cool. We're going to get into it and break it down and kind of filter what Michael Caine was talking about. Because so many actors, they'll speak to the audience as like this omniscient thing that they're talking to. And you're talking to a friend. And you're sharing information. You're sharing your thoughts with that friend. And it starts to change things. It changes the energy in the room. And it's powerful when you're relaxed, because if you're in front of people or in front of a crew and you're the most relaxed one, there's power in that. Because it shows that you're not trying to perform. And then, he talked a lot about doing nothing. I remember Johnny Simons, who I saw perform last night, talked about that. When we first did our Mind, Mask, and Movement training, the first thing we kind of learned was to do nothing. To do absolutely nothing. No utterance of a performance. And that's where you kind of want to be. You want to be outside of yourself in a way, but you want to be you, but you want to forget about you. I think that's what it means by talking to a friend, is you're forgetting about what you're doing as an actor performer, and then you're really talking to your friend, about what you're doing. That was cool how he did that. It did change some of the performances in the scene thing and Michael Caine's film acting class. It did change. So the actor would come off and it was kind of theatrical, and then all of a sudden, it was like he was talking to someone for real. And he was focused, because we're focused when we talk to people. And if you have a problem where the camera is, it may be that you're not sharing the scene with that other person. And he said the camera will always love you. It'll always be your friend. It'll always be your friend. It'll always love you. So treat it as that thing, They did a lot of talking into the camera, like a side, that kind of thing. Also, I focus on the green thing. This is like a development of an actor process kind of thing. I think this is what this may be, what all this is about. I just, kept flogging myself, rather than, vlogging, just change the word to flogging. But it's really vlogging, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. I do reviews on stuff. And I hear that Quentin Tarantino, if I'm not mistaken, I think he is doing something right now about a movie about a movie critic or something like that. So I'm going to be stoked. I'm sweating right now. I got to turn the air on. This is like the cheapest gas in town right here. I'm afraid of blogging it, making it so dang popular. They're always busy. If any of these people watch my show. They do have 2 hot dogs for $3, but I usually just get one for $1.50. And it looks like a cup of coffee is a large grande cup is $1.48. It's kind of what Paul Rudd calls it. a large cup of coffee rather than a venti. Dang English majors. Paul Rudd could definitely play an English major, like a professor playing what I'm talking about, like a professor or something. I'm just gonna have to park. Here's one. Oh wait, is he coming in? Okay. It looks like he's leaving. I'm real weird with numbers. There we go. Death Trap is also great with Michael Caine and Christopher Reeves. Wonderful film. All right. Christopher Reeve. Right, sorry. So here's how it works. Christopher Reeve is the one that was in Death Trap with Michael Caine. It's Christopher Reeve. There's also a Christopher Reeves who played Superman 2, or he played Superman in another film. So there's two Christopher Reeves. Reeve. There's two Christopher Reeve. Well, there's one Christopher Reeve, and then there's one Christopher Reeves. But they both played Superman. Isn't that crazy? So you have Christopher Reeve, the one that worked with Michael Caine in Death Trap, and then you have Christopher Reeves, who also played Superman in the black and white version. So I think I'm going to figure out a way to remember that Christopher Reeve, it's like the only Superman that I really saw, so it'd only have one. It would have no S. It would have no S. So it'd be Christopher Reeve, R-E-E-V-E. He's also in Somewhere in Time. He has no S. So the Christopher Reeves is the other Superman that has the S. The older one has the S. The newer one, who's also passed away, didn't have the S. Okay. I did not know this. I do roll them here. They keep them in foil at the front. So now that we're talking about performance, I want to talk about probably one of the best one-man shows that I've seen so far in my life, and it's Johnny Simons out of Hip Pocket Theater. Amazing actor. I didn't know he was that good of an actor. I knew he was a great mime and a great director. I could not tell the level of his injury. I don't know if he was using sense memory or if it was real, and I really don't want to know, but I knew at one point he fell off this chair, and I knew that he caught himself okay on that. It was funny. It wasn't out of control, but it was very real, and the illusion really worked, and I could not tell the difference between the fantasy and reality. It was amazing, but that takes incredible control, especially at the age of 84, and to go for a complete hour and the thing be a whole monologue. It's amazing. It's an amazing performance. Kudos to Johnny Simons. I am proud to be one of his students. I'm very proud to be one of his students, for sure. That I'm very, very proud of. And I've worked with the best. I've worked with the best of the best. Johnny Depp was even a guest teacher. And he's great too. Sir Ian McKellen, Richard Gere, all of them. He's right there at the top. I didn't know Johnny was that good, but it's very good. There is a moment, and it's very hard to watch, where he breaks down, and it's very great. The whole thing, it's brilliant. It's called Old and in the Way, a pantomime featuring Malemo. It's at Hip Pocket Theater. It's going on tonight's the last performance for that particular show. At least he brings it back. Really good show. Okay. Now, for my, I guess you could call it a dinner. Cowboys are playing tonight. Like I was saying, I'm taking this as a prediction game. So if they win this one, I think they're going to go all the way to the Super Bowl. I don't know for sure. Dak Prescott has the ability to take us there. And they're playing the New York Giants. It was a pretty decent team. Now, the New York Giants have not been to the Super Bowl since 1969. It's a long time. So, I think they're still a good enough team to know exactly how the Cowboys are. And I'll probably be listening to it on the radio. Do mustard on my dog. I have to focus. This takes a lot of focus. I was watching A.D.W. do it today. And he shows the food, you know. Maybe this, in this case, it's a condiment too. And he shows everything, you know, the advertisement, so you can see it's coming from Walmart. Ooh, he gets that thumbnail. He waits for it. Okay. Then we have a drinkage. Coke Zero and Coca-Cola. Can't see it, but you see the thermal cup. And it appears that Adam did a vlog yesterday and found a really good malt at Fatburger. It was a very enjoyable vlog to see. I'm using Adam's technique to tell my story because I have to find some type of technique. And he's been doing it for about 10 years and is very successful. Like 59,000 views. Here's some relish right here. You gotta make sure you get it at an angle and you have to focus. It's work. It's not just simply putting the food in your mouth. You're describing the food too, so it's warm. It has relish and mustard on it. It's a warm dog in foil. It's not anything new, but it's dang good practice and it has nutrition. It has a little bit of protein and some bread. It feels warm, the weight is there. It's a Nathan dog. It really does seem like it's it appears to be it appeared to be on a roller, and it tastes like a hot dog. There's no cheese or anything inside of it. You can see it's just a straight up Nathan. As an actor, you want to do this stuff. You want to be kind of aware of yourself as a performer eating in front of other people, and you know, not even really have to think about it. It's a good one. It's not too bad. I'm gonna put it up there. Maybe 7-Eleven. 7-Elevens are a little thicker, and I'm gonna put 7-Eleven and say 7-Eleven's a little bit better. Not a bad dog. It is Nathan. It's beef. It is gonna be better than the regular QT dog, and sometimes better than Racetracks because they leave them out a little too long sometimes. This is kind of my daily bread. Pretty good dog. Anyone listening, I did write a play called UHM, okay, which means like more than what I thought. It also means you know, when people are speaking and they forget what they're gonna say and then they go okay. So it does mention vlogging. It does have a great big modem on stage. There is a large screen television. The modem is exaggeratedly large. It starts off with a copyright Nazi that shows up to try to stop the show. It does have Scott on Tape's voice in one segment of the play playing from the television. There's two characters, Snickles and Ash. One coughs, and the other one coughs a little bit more. Or that's not the right English, but you know what I mean. One coughs, and one coughs more. Okay, there we go. You see the difference? So, it's kind of hinting a little bit to COVID. A little bit. But they're not like coughing throughout the whole play. It's strategically placed. There is a sound of jet noise that comes in. Like the sound of a jet fighter pilot flying overhead. Okay? And random moments throughout the play where you can't hear anything but the jet flying over. Practically. So you would need a good sound guy for this play. It's kind of vaudevillian. Snickles and Ash are kind of another version of like Waiting for Godot a little bit. Only it's male and female. There's tons of those. It is a kind of an abstract piece, although realism is stressed. There's a lot of dialogue. Snickles is hinted to be kind of a miserable alcoholic. Ash is a writer, and there's many times he's seen writing in the play on the couch. I think I do mention the smartphone device. So there is vlogging within the play. Whether, they do it or not, doesn't really matter. They talk about it at least. There's a strange knock at the door, mysterious knock at the door. You never find out who's behind the door. And also you know that Ash owes money to, the government. It's got a lot in there. They feud, but they love one another. There is a cat that can be played invisibly, or a cat that can be invisible. Okay? And you can play it with an invisible cat. Or I gave the option, in like a director's note kind of thing, or, playwright note, that the cat could be played by a person as well, but doesn't speak or anything like that. But the cat is there. The cat is mentioned quite a bit. I know for sure the cat's name, I think, is called The Cat. I'll have to look to see the name of the cat to make sure. I usually call the cat The Cat. It's kind of all over the place. It is probably a 2-act. It needs some work, and I need to type it up. And I may send it possibly to Stage West. I talked to Dana. She said, look, I'm not going to blow smoke up your A.s.s, but, we don't always do original work, But they do have a playwright Horizons, or some kind of playwright thing, a playwright where you give them the work. Hip Pocket, maybe, Johnny's real big about me doing like a mime show there, and so I'm okay with that. That was years ago when I would try to say, hey, I have this play. I gave another play to Gracie Toon, and she gave it to me and said, we got to do, we got to find this, we have to get this produced, But yet that happens so much, and nothing happens. I was talking to Pete Gooch just the other night, because he got to do Hubcaps Over Hollywood, which was a great play, but he was persistent with it. He kept giving it to Johnny over and over. And Johnny finally said, okay, let's get it out of the way. Let's do this Ed Wood thing. And it happened to land on the same time that Tim Burton was opening Ed Wood. And there was no there was a coincidence. It just happened to happen that way. Like Pete Gooch was not even trying to make it happen that way. But anyway, I'm just going to try to get to the point where I can type this thing up. Right now it's in a composite book. It's all handwritten, which is rare with me, over the last 10 years. I had to handwrite it, dictating some of the moments that were said. I think it might be something. But, Dana has been running the Stage West for a very long time. I know she has high standards. Stage West has always brought kind of Broadway style, or off-Broadway style. I'd say off-Broadway style acting and playwriting to the theater. Hip Pocket's always been experimental. And, Circle Theater has always been kind of, they would do commercial, mostly, published playwright stuff, a lot of them do. Like, the play's already published, we're already good to go, it's going to be entertaining, don't worry about it. That kind of way of approach. Because when you do a new work,
it's risky. It's risky for the theater. They want to have return people. So a lot of times you have to do the new work at a new theater, that's just developing. That's very popular, or it was when I did Man 1, Man 2 years ago. I got to do original play that I wrote. And the theater was called Teatro Theater. It never developed completely. The theater didn't, but it turned into Rosemarine, which is Artist de la Rosa, which is a Latino cultural theater. And they allowed one of the ladies there. I don't even remember her name. She was a Latino lady. I was sitting right next to Rob Vasquez, who's done many plays, and Rob was doing Chicken Skin, and I had this little piece called Man 1, Man 2, and like the lady said, okay, we'll do it, and I think it made Rob nervous, and Rob knocked over a big large glass of tea, because Rob was going to be coupled with one of my plays, and he really wanted Chicken Skin to shine. We both got write-ups in the Fort Worth Star Telegram. It was a really exciting time to do your own play, and it's pretty difficult, but I don't know. Let me get it in a readable format. Handwritten thing. I write like a doctor. Let me get it in a readable hand, and like I'm still working on the screenplay for October for the werewolf thing. So let me finish up with October. Then November will come in. We'll get into winter, and I'll start typing, and we'll get it all. We'll get it all printed, either printed out. She wants me to send a digital copy. I usually know what that means, because I sent her a digital copy of a play I did called Nomad County, which is once Nomad Land. And yeah, I know you love me too, yeah. And it just, nothing happened, So I don't know. We'll have to see. Let me finish it up, and let me see what it looks like when I'm done, and then I'll send it to her, or I'll send it to other places or something, and we'll see what ends up happening. The play is the thing. Silver alert, Brownville, Texas. I didn't get the license plate. We got a hippie running around in a car, silver hair, silver alert. Somewhere out of Brownsville, pretty far away. I wrote a short story called Silver Alert Kitty. It's about an older guy that runs off with his cat from a hurricane and decides to do filming locations way out in, the Northeast. I wanted to get Fred Armisen on board with it if I can talk to him. He's too busy with espionage. No, I'm joking. His father was espionage, for like Japan or something, Korea or something crazy. I think he was a Korean in Japan and was a spy. September 17th, 2023, as we're recording this, that's what it looks like on a Sunday. Got to do this. We're looking at 92 degrees Fahrenheit, 193,415 miles on the speedometer. Cowboys are getting ready to play the New York Jets, and they're all the way from South Dakota. According to the script,